Here we go.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Soup Bowl. I am your host, Renee Murdoch, and thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for liking and sharing and just going on this life journey with me. I'm so happy to be going on it with you as well. We are in season 2. Come on, let's go. Episode 2. Right, and so I'm just glad to be back, to be, chopping it up with you again. We was on a little break, on a little, vacation, right? In season 1, we talked about it in the last episode. We did 37 episodes. Yay! All right, and so we're just going to go for it again this year because this is what I feel that I am supposed to be doing at this time. I'm doing, right? So just again, thank you so much, everybody, for just being here and just, going on this ride with me, right? While we're talking about life challenges as we are leading our own lives. Because you first must lead yourself before you begin to lead others effectively, right? And so you must know how to lead your own self. You must know these things about yourself and these challenges, right? And not only that, but never to do life alone, because we were never meant to do it. So as we're starting off again, right, we kind of dove in just a little bit on the last episode about setting goals and things, right, that we want to pursue in this present year that we are currently in. And I want to keep that same energy going as we're just tracking along, that we're not forgetting about, we're not getting discouraged, but we're just continuing on in this thing that we call life, right, and being in our purposeful, full lives as we are here on earth. And one thing I want to talk about is because, like I said, right, we haven't been here, right, since December of last year. And why? Because I was resting. I was on vacation. I was doing a reset, a recharge, a rejuvenation, all of those good things. And it's important that we do that, right? We have a thing in the American culture. I'm talking about the American culture because that's what I can relate to in this regard. But we have this thing in the American culture that, one, we believe that, you're going to work hard or go home, right? Go hard or go home. We believe that doing 80 hours and plus is going to get us to be more successful, to be more famous, to reach the top of the tier of whatever our industry may be. We believe that is what's going to get us there. We will do things at all costs to get there, right? We will, take for granted the time that we have. We will take for granted this temple, this body that we have, and we will use it in the most unhealthiest way, right? Because we're trying to get there. We're trying to make it. We're trying to get to the top of the top. We're trying to be the best of the best, and not realizing that in all of that, we need to take rest. Can you still get to where you want to be at, what you believe that you are purposed to do, and fulfilling a full life here on earth and taking rest? I believe you can. I believe you can. I believe that you can get all that you can get in being in your definition of your outlook of what success looks like for you and still get rest, right? Because success, for other people might be, I want to be a millionaire, I want to be a billionaire, right? Another person might be like, you know what, I just want to be a thousandaire, right? I'm okay with that. And some people are like, I don't even want to be a thousandaire, I just want to be 100aire, right? And so you're okay with your quality of life. I think I've said this before. Do not look at other people and judge them on the way that they want to live if they are paying their own way. Now, what I can judge you on is if you're trying to have other people pay your way for your quality of life. That's what I can judge you on. Okay, I'm going to judge you on that, right? But I'm not going to judge you when you are paying your own way and this is what you want to do. You don't want to buy a house. Guess what? You don't have to buy a house. You don't want to buy a brand new car. Guess what? You don't have to buy a brand new car. You don't want to go around the world or get a passport. You're okay with living right here in the United States and never seeing anything else but the United States of America. Guess what? That's what you want to do. Then do that. You want to make sure that anywhere you go, you're willing to go places, but you're only willing to go there by car. You're only willing to go there by boat, or wherever you go, you want to make sure you get on a plane. Whatever you want to do, just ensure that you are paying your own way. And to me, that's what you are saying is successful, right? So we don't judge, right, our success based off of other people's terms and definitions of what success is. It is how we want to live our life and fulfilling that in the quality that we have chosen. Because you can choose your quality of life. I don't care what nobody say. They don't choose it for you. Not here in the United States of America. We're not choosing your quality of life for you. You ultimately choose it. Now, when you are born into it, right, that is not by choice. It becomes choice, right, when you become of age to start making choices for your own self. And so, again, you can get there by taking rest. We have another thing in the Americas, as people would say, that we believe that taking rest is laziness. We believe that not, working a complete 40-hour work week is laziness. We think that taking 2 hours lunches is laziness, when in fact it's not. When it's not. If we look at some of our counterparts, right, within other cultures, within other countries, I say European countries, that, taking the necessary time off, right, with whether, no matter what your age may be, has resulted into a more balanced life. And the reason why here in the Americas that we have this, this continuous thing, right, that we're constantly talking about, which is work-life balance, is because guess what? We don't have it, and we haven't learned how to do it yet. We don't have it, and we have not learned how to do it yet, because we won't let go of the beliefs of an 80-hour work week, or 120-hour work week, or 16-hour work day. We won't let it go. We won't let it go that you got to go hard at all times. We won't let it go that you must be on at all times to be considered to be a good employee, to be, considered to be at the top of, your class or whatever. We won't let it go. And so now we're continuously having classes and trainings on how to do that. If we go to our other counterparts, they're not having trainings on work-life balance because they already have work-life balance. Their holidays, is which they call them, are longer than our holidays, right? Their vacation time is longer than that, right? So whether you're in the corporate world and you're hoping to get those 2 weeks, right? Or you're in the military space, right? And you're hoping to get to use or lose, right? Or even in the government space, you're hoping you might start off with 4 hours and then 6 hours and 8 hours, right? And you're hoping to get that time that you can take off and not be ashamed or feel guilty about taking that time off, right? We got to get to that point. And that's the reason why we're still talking about it to this day, work-life balance. What are people asking when they go on curfews? I mean, not curfews, but what are they asking when they go on interviews? Right? They're asking about, what are the work hours? What does that look like? What does vacation look like? How much vacation is available to us as, as an employee? What's the culture like, appointments. They're asking these questions because they want to ensure that they are getting work-life balance. People that have gotten the revelation that, hold up a second, for me to continue on and to live a long, healthy life, I need to have balance in this thing. I just can't keep going and not actually rest. I think I keep seeing this little guy right here. Hey, this is my little lion. And I use him. Actually, he's supposed to be. Usually, he's sitting on the camera because that's normal where he's sitting at. And he fell off, and he's just in my hand right now. So you're gonna just see the little guy popping up, whatever. He's hanging out with us today, right? I don't have a name for him, but anyway, he's my little lion. So, but anyway, going back to the thing is that we need to, make sure that we're getting this revelation of how important it is to change our culture. And the only way that it's going to change is for us to start changing it. Of those of us that got the revelation. So, for instance, I was thinking back about my time last year in 2024, and if I actually rested well, right? Because I kept thinking like, oh, I can't wait till I get out this month, and I can't wait till I get out this month, and I can't wait till I get out this month. And then it just kept going, and I was like, I don't think I'm doing such a great job of resting, because if I was, then I don't think I was always looking forward to getting out of a month, because then this will be over and I can go into something else. Versus like take time off on a regular basis. Now, in hindsight, I thought I actually was taking time off because I seemed like I was gone a lot, but it really wasn't time off. It was either for training. It was either for an event with work. It was either, something dealing with nonprofit. It was doing something with, the child. So I really wasn't really off. I really didn't take time off, right? And if I did, it was like, spurts here and there, or maybe it just wasn't on a regular basis. So I didn't really do a good job like I thought I did. And so, especially when I got to the end and I was like, why do I have all of this leave, right? And so I was like, ooh, yeah, you didn't do so great. You didn't do great, right? To the point where literally I think almost at the end of the year, like I was in a very high state of stress and did not realize it until my body told me so. I didn't realize it because I was just so used to operating in a certain way that I did not realize that I was at a very high stress level to where my body started to speak to me, and it wasn't speaking to me in a good way. And so I was in pain, right? Because of this high stress level. And your body is going to talk to you, right? Regardless if we want it to speak or not. You can try to ignore it and try to tell it to shut up and all this type of stuff, but it's going to keep talking until you answer it. Okay. And so that is exactly where I was at, and I didn't even realize it. And so I just want to talk about the importance of being intentional about rest. We tend to, so again, I know that I need to be taking rest, right? It's just about being intentional about when I'm going to take the rest. So I used to say like, oh, okay, that second bye week on Friday, right? I'm not working, right? I used to be like, oh, I'm just not going to work, or I'm not going to work past noon, right? So I started off that way, right? It was working really good. Then it was like, oh no, this is going on. I need to finish this up. I need to be present for this or whatever. And then eventually, right, the schedule goes woof, and it's no longer there. Again, that was unhealthy because I did not stay true to what I said I was going to do and to put those boundaries in place, right? Nothing's happening or going on, right, that is life or death in the industry in which I work in currently right now. So can those things wait? Yes. If it's actually event that I have to be at, but I know that it's not every single bi-week Friday, right? So again, some of those things, it was just my doing of not saying no and then holding true to what I said that I was going to do. And so, again, we're thinking about, well, how can I be successful if I don't put in the work and I don't show up? And people don't think that I'm accountable and I'm available. Well, first of all, we should never be available at all times to all people. Let me say that again. We should never be available to people at all times. We shouldn't. There should be times where we're able to steal away, so to speak, right? You think about the life of Jesus, or even Moses. They always went to some place of solitude. And when they went into those places of solitude, guess what? They got a refreshing, they got newfound revelation. They were recharged to go back and continue the work that they were doing. But if they did not do it, they would burn out, right? We've experienced it. Come on now, raise your hand. Who has experienced work burnout, right? And so you can be successful, right? I believe Moses was successful. I believe Jesus was successful in their assignment, right? It just depends how you want to look at it. Did they complete it? Yes. So there's your success. If you were told to do something and you completed it, it was successful, right? And so you can still be successful and still take, proper rest. I just want to share this as well, which I thought this was actually kind of sad, when it comes to Americans, right? We have had the disadvantage, right, for centuries, right, of being healthy and at our survival rate. And even with the pandemic, right, we're still talking about it because there's still lasting effects upon it, right, that we were making way even through different ethnicity groups, closing the gap of lifespan, right? And based upon COVID-19, right, that gap has increased again, although it was getting smaller. And so it's really sad when you think about, why are we not living as long? And there's different, of course, reasonings behind that. But also those factors, right, we're talking about, diseases, smoking, right? Again, lifestyle choices, whatever, it might be genetic disorders, violence, or accidents. But when you go back into some of the root cause of it, like a lot of times if we're in such a stressful state or whatever, we can cause harm to our bodies, right? Whether it be physically, emotionally, spiritually, right, or mentally, we can cause harm to ourselves. And this shortens the span of our life. So if I'm constantly in a mental state of high stress, I can begin to go into what we call, right, depression, anxiety, all the time, whatever, even becoming into suicidal thoughts, or even just, giving in to those suicidal thoughts, right? And ending my life, right? So that lifespan, again, actually declining, right? So you think about, I just always think about like this too as well. Like, I think about history and I'm reading and I'm like, man, these individuals, they lived a long time, right? Like, started like in the hundreds, right? And then you go down and now you're in the 90s, now you're in the 80s. And now on an average, we're in the 70s. That's on average, right? We're in the 70s. If you break it down by ethnicity, again, sad to say, it even goes lower. So I'm going to talk about African Americans, right? Like the men, right, average right now is 67.7% for African Americans, right? When you think about the Hispanics, actually, research shows that their lifespan was actually higher than white Americans, but they actually have declined as well. So everybody's lifespan is declining. So Hispanics right now is 76 years old, right? For on an average. That's an average. So an average means that if I took, a group of people, right, and based upon the time of the span that they passed away, right, that's the average of this individual. So that means that you got people lower than that. So that's 67.7. That's kind of like eye-opening, I would hope, for us as, or if you can you want to go out there and read it yourself. But overall, men, right, no matter what their ethnicity, is 73.5. Again, that's still low. That's still low. And so how can we close the gap? Because our counterparts, our neighbors, other countries are living longer than we are. Why is that? Why are they living longer than we are? Because they understand the importance of rest. They understand the importance of taking time for themselves and the things that's going to help recharge them. We can't ignore not taking rest. We put ourselves in, again, chronic stress, right? Getting into things of inadequate sleep, right? Leading to things like ulcers and sleeping disorders, cardiovascular diseases, right? And having physical and mental breakdowns. A lot of these things that we go through in our physical body is first resulting from our emotional and our mental state. Again, resulting from what? Us not taking care of ourselves. We talk about these me days and time days or whatever, and it's just not working. It's not enough. So if I'm going to be leading myself first, I must learn how to rest. Because if I don't learn how to rest, then how am I going to lead a group of people effectively? Helping them to understand how to rest and how to be effective in the things that they want to do in life. So when I think about rest, right, this is a acronym that I got in right, other people have come up with other things, but what I got, the acronym for rest is rejuvenate, essential, support, and time. Right? So when we want to rejuvenate, we want to make sure that we're practicing the restoring of our youthfulness. I love this. How do I practice restoring my youthfulness? Think about it for a moment. When you were a youth and you got up in the morning, were you stressed? For the most part, I mean, some of us grew up in some rough areas and environments, but think about it. Were you overly stressed? Were you thinking about, I got to get this done, I got to do this, No, you thought about one thing. And that one thing was, maybe it was a couple of things, right? Maybe it was, I'm going to eat today, I'm going to eat, right? But most of the time, right, we all had one thing in common when we were youth, and that was play. We played and played and played. And you could play all day long, right? Even when you were in school, you were thinking about recess time. You were thinking about gym time. You were thinking about those activities that you enjoyed doing when you got older and you played sports or whatever. You couldn't wait for practice, right? You couldn't wait till lunchtime where you got to just chill and just, go off somewhere in a corner and talk to your friends or even be by yourself and read a book. You were looking for those times. And that is restoring your youthfulness. How do I get back there? To a place of spontaneous play, spontaneous freedom, right? Where things were just carefree. So avoid focusing so much on things where I'm always having to plan and to prepare and things like that. That's not rejuvenating. That's actually work. I even had to tell my husband, right when we just came back from a trip of celebrating, our anniversary, that I'm not planning anything. The planning was done here, and these are the things that I would like to do, but I'm not planning out our day, hour by hour with activities, because that's not free play. That's not spontaneous. That's work. And even if I'm good at doing it, it's still work, right? And it's not relaxing me, especially if it's somewhere I've never been before. I gotta go research. I gotta go look up. Gotta read this. I gotta read reviews or whatever. It's not relaxing, right, to me. And so where am I finding rejuvenation in this process, right? So that's just it. So that's rejuvenate. When we talk about essential, right? Recognizing and maintaining those elements that are necessary for productivity, right? Like, I need to make sure that I'm getting sleep, adequate sleep, not 2 hours of sleep, not even 4 hours of sleep. Right? I need to get some rest. I need to make sure that I'm exercising on a regular basis. I need to make sure I'm going to bed at a decent time. I can't be going to bed every single night at 11 and 12 midnight and then waking up at 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning. Like, I'm constantly doing this every single day. That's not healthy. I need to make sure that I'm regularly exercising. Where does obesity come from? From overeating, right? Overeating, why? Because I'm up late at night, so now I gotta grab a snack. Oh, I'm sitting down doing this. I'm on phone call all the time. I'm always in a meeting. I'm always on whatever, and I'm just grabbing stuff. That's unhealthy. So I'm not really taking the time out to make a balanced meal. I'm not taking the time up to get up and to move around and go on a walk or whatever. When it's nice outside, I always say that muscle is walking me, right? Versus me walking him, because I already had a walk, right? So I need one. I need one, right? Throughout the day to get up and to move away from, right, this desk, this place of virtual, of being in all the time. And then I need to make sure I have clear boundaries, even with the people that I love. And I think I said this last year about, when I was going through school and I was like, hey, this is my school time. I'm not here. I'm invisible. Don't come talk to me, because I can't. I have to tune you out. So having boundaries with people. I can't always make the event. I can't always make, the meeting, whatever, or crazy. If I have a doctor's appointment, I need to be at my doctor's appointment. And I can't try to be at my doctor's appointment and still in this meeting talking about, I'm going to call in. Oh, you know who you are. Yes, I'm calling you out. You cannot be at your doctor's appointment, your dental appointment, and taking care of yourself and still try to be on a call in a meeting. Hello? They will clue you in when you get back. Ain't nothing going on, right? You have to put boundaries in place, right? I had to put a do not disturb on my phone during the noontime hour, where most people, right, are at their lunch or whatever, breaks or whatever. But that was the do not disturb for me. I'm going on my walk. Because I had a habit of, if you call, we talking, right? I'm in my other office now, so I had to make sure that I did that, right? And learn when to say no, and stick to it. And don't feel guilty if you're, if you're not able to make it, right? Or even trying to tell someone the reason why you can't make it. You don't owe them that. You don't owe them that. You don't owe everybody that. So, it's okay to say no, right? We always say have the power in your no, right? And then also have the power in your yes as well. When you say yes, stick to your yes. And when you say no, say no. If something comes up, then be honest about that, right? And I think you do owe enough. But like, hey, something come up, I can no longer make it. Versus, right, you're just saying yes, and then you just never show up. Or you're saying yes, and then every time you turn around, you're always saying, oh no, I can't make it with it. Say no from the beginning, so people are not expecting you or depending on you to be there. So having those clear boundaries, is important. Not only with our co-workers, with our colleagues, right, with our partners, with our loved ones, our children. Everyone needs to understand what their boundaries are when it comes to you. Because if you're always on for everyone all the time, when do you have time for yourself? We still got a little bit more to go into this. We are really kind of at the end of our time here, and I don't want to, continue to going on into these other two topics. So we're going to finish it up the next time. I got to make sure I remind myself this is what we're supposed to be talking about, because I think it's so important that we really just unashamed, right, begin to rest. Begin to rest. And I'm not talking about, 1 hour. I'm not talking about that hour walk, but it's on a consistent and intentional way. Muscle, say hi. Say hi, Muscle. I tell you, I always got to be in the film all the time. So making his cameo for this season 2. But anyway, so we're going to get into this some more. I just want to encourage you that you begin to take some action and some necessary intentional steps when it comes to resting, so you can lead your own life effectively, and that you can be that effective leader. Okay? All right, until next time, there's nothing that you can do about it, but I love you. And do know that leading is teachable. I love you. Stay good and healthy, and take some rest on this week. Peace.